Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of the WyoSports video blog. I'm Robert Gagliardi, Senior Editor of WyoSports, here to preview Wyoming and Utah State Friday night in Logan, Utah. Friday night lights, so to speak. Even Lucas Waka, Wyoming's junior linebacker, said it. Games like these remind him of Friday nights and playing high school football, but a little higher caliber on Friday night in Logan as the Cowboys face the Utah State team that despite a 48-14 loss at San Diego State last Friday, is playing some really good football. You know, this is the team that dismantled Boise State 2 weeks ago, 52-26 in Logan. They won 12 or 13 straight at home, 9-2 coming off losses under Coach Matt Wells. This is just a very good football team, and maybe, you know, I don't know if the people in Boise would agree with this, but maybe the best team in the Mountain West this season. You know, the Cowboys are going to be shorthanded. No Cam Kaufman at quarterback. He's listed as doubtful. I don't think he's going to play. I wouldn't expect him to play. No Tanner Gentry at wide receiver for the second straight game, both dealing with shoulder injuries. Hopefully they come back sooner than later, but I do think it's probably going to be at least a couple weeks more for both those guys. But again, not a doctor, but still, tough task. Nick Smith, the redshirt freshman quarterback, will get the nod for the Cowboys Friday night. And look, you know, he's been thrust in a couple of tough situations. You know, we remember back to the second game of the season. He was the backup behind Josh Allen when Kaufman hurt his knee in the opener. Josh Allen gets hurt on the second series. Smith comes in and really just was kind of thrown into the fire. You know, really struggled throwing the ball, ran it really well, and that is a strength of his game. I would expect Wyoming to try to utilize that run game, even though they're down to basically two quarterbacks with Smith and redshirt sophomore Aaron Young. You got to work to Nick Smith's strengths. You can't just put him out there and expect him to make, you know, 15-yard out routes when he's maybe not ready or capable of doing that. So it'd be interesting to see what Wyoming plans for that. It would be nice if the run game with Brian Hill can get going and shoulder some of that off. But I look for Wyoming to try to get some short passes for Smith early, try to get his confidence going. And they have to be as balanced as possible. But if Wyoming has to throw it 30, 35 times, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Defensively for the Cowboys, they're another big challenge. Kent Myers, the sophomore quarterback for the Aggies, very good. He came in last year when Chucky Keaton got hurt, led him to 10 wins. Keaton's hurt again this year. Myers has just not lost a beat. He's 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, 62% completion rate. Excuse me. He's got some good weapons to work with. Maybe not quite as dynamic as some of the weapons they had last year, but still, they're fast on the edges, and the edges really hurt Wyoming last year in the 20-3 loss to Utah State in Laramie. JoJo Natson returned a punt or kickoff for a touchdown. He also had like a fly sweep for a long touchdown. Those are really, Natson's not there, but they still got some dangerous guys on the edge, and that's going to be a key thing for this defense to make sure they don't get burned on the edges. And as we've talked a lot of times this season, this defense has to get off to a faster start. You know, Boise State jumped out to a 17-0 first quarter lead. It was 24-7 at one point in the second quarter. You know, the defense settled down. And when the numbers don't indicate it, but I do think this defense is making improvements and doing some things better, but it has to get off to a better start. It can't dig itself early holes, and something this team's done all year. Now, credit the other team for a lot of that, and I just think the defense just needs to play better early. If they can settle in early, this team, you know, maybe Wyoming has a chance if it can, you know, keep it close, make it a close game in the fourth quarter. We'll see, but also turnovers. Look, in any football game, turnovers usually are the determining factor or a determining factor. Utah State's forced 18 turnovers over the last 5 games, including 8 in the dismantling of Boise State a couple weeks ago. 10 fumble recoveries for the Aggies, leading the nation there. They're ball hawking. They've got they're physical up front. 2 of the better linebackers in the conference in Kyler Fackrell and Nick Vigil. A ball hawking, as Craig Bull described, secondary. So it's going to be a tough challenge for Wyoming, so we'll see what happens there. Hopefully you can take care of business, but it's a tough task. Utah State's 12-13 straight home wins, 9-2 coming off losses under Coach Matt Wells. This is going to be a tough task for the Cowboys being shorthanded, so I don't like their chances. I'm going Utah State 38, Wyoming 13 in this one. Hope I'm wrong. We'll see what happens on Halloween Eve in Logan, Utah. That'll do it for this week's edition of the WyoSports video blog. For more University of Wyoming and high school sports coverage, see the Wyoming Tribune Eagle and Laramie Boomerang, and also log on to wyosports.net. Thank you very much, everybody.